My name is David Alexander. I am the Director of Student and Financial Services at Loyola University in Maryland. I've been with the university for, it'll be 20 years this coming August. And I'm here with Tom Patterson and Mary Beth Brandenburg from Financial Aid. And we're going to talk about the exciting topics of financial aid and student accounts. So let me turn it over to Tom. Tom, if you want to share your screen and start your presentations, we'll get this underway. And this is being recorded and we'll have it uploaded to our website along with a PowerPoint presentation for you guys later on this week, just in case you want to come back and watch it again.
Thanks, Dave. As Dave mentioned, I am Tom Patterson. I've been at Loyola for almost 30 years. I'm joined here by my colleague, Mary Beth. Mary Beth, why don't you say hi?
Hello.
So we are, as Dave mentioned, going to jump into the thrilling and riveting world of billing and financial aid. And I see all your friendly faces, some of you driving, some of you having dinner, all kinds of things going on out there. So we're going to go through this briefly. Again, this is a brief overview. Hopefully we'll have time for questions at the end. As Dave said, it's being recorded, so if you missed anything or if you can't sleep later tonight, you can rewatch it, and we'll go through. If the questions are not answered, you can reach out to either of our departments. We'll have contact information at the end of this. So let me start by, this is my first test to see if I can actually figure out how to share a screen here. Can everybody see my screen? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so here we are, the wonderful world of financial aid. We are, the Office of Financial Aid is this pretty building that's right behind us, right behind Mary Beth and I. That's where we live. We're on the second floor. It's the Not Humanity Center. Our email address is there, phone number, fax, a little outdated, but we still have one, I believe, so you can contact us. What we'd like to tell everyone right up front is most of the information, if not all of the information we're going to give you tonight, can be found on our website. If you go into the search bar and type in, whatever you're looking for, you can find it pretty easily. But again, we'll just go through this real quick, and then we can get into some questions, hopefully at the end. Mary Beth, you want to start with this one?
Sure. So for next year, your students had already hopefully filled out the 23-24 FAFSA, and that's something that's going to be required every year. The years get bumped each year. If for some reason you have not filled it out, it's not too late. You would want to do so as soon as possible. But if you have filled it out, you should have already gotten a financial aid notification from us. And again, if you didn't get that, please contact us. So you've already done the 23-24 FAFSA. Our school code is listed here, 002078, and your social security number is also required.
When you fill out the FAFSA, there's a chance that you might be selected for federal verification. This is kind of the Department of Education's audit of certain families. They do a percentage each year. What that means is that the school, in this case Loyola, we have to collect certain documents to have on hand in case that you actually are audited by the Department of Education. They're usually items such as tax returns, W-2s, verification worksheets, proof of citizenship, those kinds of things. So if you are selected for federal verification, you can upload those documents into our self-service portal. And until for the first year, when you came in, if you were selected for verification, we move forward with awarding your aid accordingly. If in subsequent years you're selected, juniors, sophomore, junior, senior, we normally hold off awarding until you get that documentation in. Again, it's nothing wrong that you've done if you were selected, but if you are, we do have to collect that information before we can actually award any kind of federal aid.
We'll just jump right into the types of, the next couple of slides are going to be about the types of loans that you would see on your award notification. Every student would be offered a federal direct loan, which is the old Stafford loan. So on your award notification, you could see a combination of subsidized and unsubsidized. Subsidized is for students that demonstrate need. So that means based on the FAFSA calculation, it shows that there's need that needs to be met. Unsubsidized means that there was no financial need. So the maximum you can receive between these two loans for a freshman is $5,500. That amount goes up each year. The junior and senior year, the maximum between the two is $7,500. The difference between subsidized means interest does not accrue for the student while they're in school. Basically, the government is paying the interest. And unsubsidized means there's no interest benefit from the government. Both loans do not need to be repaid until after graduation. And as in any type of loan, there are procedures that the student needs to go through, because this would be a loan in the student's name. If they accept the loan on the self-service portal, they would need to do the electronic processes of signing the master promissory note and the entrance counseling. And I believe those emails just went out to the freshmen that that had elected to accept those loans. Once we get electronic verification that both of those processes are done, then we would update the loan status in our system.
So the loans that Mary Beth were just referring to are the student loans. And if you filled out a FAFSA and we received it, those loans would have been a part of the aid package that the student received. There's another kind of federal loan, and that is the Federal Parent Plus loan. It's in the name, it's a parent loan. So if the amount of aid that you received, either through scholarships, grants, or loans, student loans, still left a gap, and you are looking for a larger loan to cover that gap, to kind of bridge what you still owe, a lot of families use the Federal Plus loan. It is, again, a parent loan, meaning it would be in the parent's name. The origination fee and interest rate are listed there. It's 8%, 8.05. With both these loans, the ones that Mary Beth just talked about, and the parent loans, students can choose to either pay while they're still in school, or they can put it off until after the student graduates. They give you the chance to do that. Normally for the student loans, it's automatic. It will go into repayment afterwards. Interest accrues, as Mary Beth mentioned, on the unsubsidized loan. Interest also accrues on the parent loan. You can choose to start paying that off while the student is enrolled, or you can push it off until the end and go into repayment there. But it's important to know that interest does accrue. And one more thing, as mentioned, the federal student loans are automatically on the student's financial aid if they accept that. The parent loan, you actually have to go out and apply for if you're interested. We don't put that on there because, of course, a lot of families do not use it, but a fair amount do. So if you do want to borrow through the federal parent direct loan plus, then you can go to our website and go in through the federal site from there.
Another type of loan that some families utilize is a private student loan. So this would be from, your Sallie Mae, your Wells Fargo, or, any of those type of lenders. They are also referred to as alternative student loans. They are non-federal loans, and they're made by, credit unions or banks or, those type of organizations. They could have variable interest rates or fixed interest rates, and they vary from lender to lender. So just like you might get a better interest rate for your mortgage from one bank to another. It's the same kind of thing with these private student loans. So they kind of compete with each other. So check a couple of them out if you want to do that. They may need a cosigner if they could be in a parent or a student's name. Generally, a younger freshman, sophomore student would definitely need a cosigner or co-borrower. But as a, older student, junior, senior, they may be able to get it on their own. Generally they need to be school certified. So you're going to list all the demographic information of who the student is, and maybe if you're the lender, who you are, and then who the student, where they're going to school. And then we'll get that information and we certify it and let the banks know that, the student's enrolled or whatever, and we'll get the payment directly.
And just a side note, if you have not yet applied for the parent loan or private loan and you intend to do so, you still have time, so don't panic. I'd say most of those loans are being processed during the summer. Again, it's nothing to freak out about at this point. But the sooner you get it wrapped up, the sooner you can get that bill paid, which Dave will talk about in a few minutes. On to federal work study. So this is one that generates probably the most questions we have. So I'll lay it out there as simply as possible. Federal work study is a need-based form of financial aid. If the student was eligible for work study, it would have appeared in the financial aid package that we sent earlier in the spring when the students were accepted. You will not see federal work study listed as a credit on the bill. So because it is considered financial aid, but unlike the other aid, such as scholarships, grants, and loans, which you do see credited, work study is going to be paid directly to the student for the hours that they work. So again, it's work. It's the students find a job on campus. We will send out information in August usually to the students that were awarded work study, and we will tell them where to go to look for jobs. We'll have a listing of the different jobs available on campus. They are paid the minimum hourly minimum wage, which is $15.25 in Maryland at this point.
Tom,
yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. It's actually $13.25. I think we did a typo right there.
$13.25. 15 did seem a bit high, but
that's high.
Yeah. So thank you for that. $13.25 is Maryland minimum wage. So the students would, based on the information we sent them, find a job on campus. Usually that's done the first few weeks of classes. Students can look to see what works with their schedule the best, and they go to the different offices. Once they are hired, they fill out the paperwork through human resources, and then they are paid for the hours they work. So if a student does not work many hours, they're just not going to get a big paycheck. That money is their money. They can use that for whatever they want. Some students turn around and put that on their student account. I'd say most use it for spending money. It's one less phone call home to mom or dad for whatever expenses they have for that 2-week period. Again, the information goes out in August with the job listings and payroll procedures. You can go to both our financial aid website and human resources if you want to find out more information on that whole process.
You may have heard the term self-service. If you haven't, ask your students about it. That is how the students will be able to check their financial aid, see their financial aid awards, see the bill, check their grades, everything important, basically. There's other important things too that aren't on self-service. But for you to be able to see the information, you will need to have your student give you proxy access. And I think Dave's going to talk about that a little bit more, about how to do the proxy access thing.
Yeah, self-service is vital. I highly recommend that you do the proxy so you can see what's actually going on. As we all know, some students don't exactly tell mom or dad a lot of information, especially when it comes to billing or financial aid or any of this boring stuff. So the problem is that if you miss deadlines, it doesn't affect the parents as much as it affects the student. Things like registration holds go on. If they miss financial aid deadlines, they could miss out on different forms of aid. So it's important to stay up to date on both the billing and also the financial aid side. So this is just a screenshot of the self-service financial aid homepage. It's kind of small. You really probably can't read it because I certainly am having a hard time. But again, it's once you get in, it's pretty self-explanatory, and you can navigate through and find the different billing and aid information that you need.
If you click present, excuse me, sorry, if you click present up at the top of the screen, your screen on the right, then it'll go, the screen will go bigger.
Oh, that's such a great advice. Yes, I'm just trying to find where you're.
Oh, down, Tom. Right below the orange bar. Yeah.
And there's some questions in the chat as well. Sorry.
Oh, great. Okay, now I got to forward this. Okay. Thank you for the help there, whoever that was.
I just want to, there's a couple questions, so I'll just interrupt real quick as we're going along. What is the eligibility criteria for federal work study? The student would automatically be considered for federal work study. So that would be initially part of the student's award. It depends upon the student's overall need and what the rest of their financial aid is. Do they, what type of scholarships they got or any other aid. You can always have the student contact the office to see whether or not they, they're generally would show eligibility for it. We may have run out of the work study, but they would be considered for federal work study every year. And then we'll jump to this page. This is the financial aid, view my financial aid page. And as you can see at the top, you have scholarships or gift aid listed. And those show under a status of accepted. And then if you go down and see work study, and also the loan would initially say pending, that means that the student has to do something. They need to accept or reject it. So with this example, the student had already accepted their loan. Again, I said they may accept it online, but they still need to follow through with doing the master promissory note and insurance counseling.
Again, just another view of the self-service page showing that the student is on campus full-time, listing grants and scholarships, loans, and work study for both the fall and spring semester. So again, as you can see, this is a great resource for you to use just to keep on top of everything going on in the world of financial aid.
Okay, there's some calculators that are available online that you can utilize if you haven't already. I know the bills have not been generated yet because we need to get the freshmen through the registration process and orientation, but you can still go online now and do the bill calculator if you want to get an idea of how much you're going to owe. It's really straightforward. It indicates, whether they're going to live on campus or commute from home. And you plug in the type of financial aid they're getting, and then it will generate the fall bill and then the spring bill. And then also with the Federal Plus loan, which is the parent loan that we spoke about a little earlier, the Plus loan has, if you borrow $10,000, you're going to get less, 2-point-something% less brought in towards the bill because of origination fees and so forth. So if you use the Plus loan calculator to determine to the dollar what you want to get actually credited to the account, that will take into account those fees.
Okay, for those who have scholarships and certain grants, there are retention criteria for them. as you can see here, and we can see much better thanks to the new presentation style here. So things like the presidential dean's Loyola transfer 2.0, and you need to remain full-time. Loyola non-need-based grants are listed there. Again, it's full-time 2.0. The SAP. Now, satisfactory academic progress is something that the Department of Education requires colleges and universities to run students through what they call the satisfactory academic progress, meaning that a student needs to maintain a certain course load, earn degree credits, a GPA. They need to get through each semester at a particular rate and pace. And we have to each semester run students through that to see if they are meeting those standards. So minimum cumulative GPA is 1.8 for the first year, 2.0 each year after, and they need to complete at least 67% of the attempted credits. So again, we run that each semester. Now for all of these, the retention committee, the common question is what happens if a student drops below? Well, we don't cut students off immediately if they were to drop below. Coming in traditionally, first semester, especially freshman year, is the hardest for a student to get acclimated. And so that's where we see most of the trouble. If a student drops below or is not hitting the mark on these, for SAP, they usually have to appeal. And there's an appeal policy that we adhere to. And also for all of our merit and need-based or non-need-based grants, there's an appeal process also. Of course, things come up, so we do not want to take away any of this aid. So we are generally very understanding, and we give students several chances. If they continue to take a nosedive each semester, it is possible that some of the aid, either federal or institutional, could be removed permanently. I can tell you that happens very rarely. So normally that's not an issue, but we always recommend if students start getting in trouble in the classroom, the best thing to do, and they'll hear this all over, is to reach out to their professors, advisors, their evergreen leaders, their any kind of support they have earlier. The earlier they do it, the better, and the less likely they'll get in trouble.
And if you like the financial aid process so much this year, you get to do it again for 3 more years. So, you know, next year, the financial aid application would be the 24-25 FAFSA. We will be sending an email reminder out about that process in January, and it will be based on 2020 income.
Righty. That is our last slide. So I will stop sharing, and we're going to turn it over to the one and only David Alexander for his incredible presentation on billing.
Dave, you're on mute still also.
There we go. Sorry about that, everybody. I was reading the question and answer stuff. So I answered a couple of you guys' questions. But yeah, keep sending them in. If we don't get to them, and you guys are coming to the orientations, feel free to stop by at the end of the orientations. We'll have, there's a fair, and you can come up to our booths and ask any questions you need, but we'll be there for that stuff. Can everyone see my screen? I can't tell if I'm sharing or not.
Yes.
Okay.
All good.
Awesome. Beautiful. All right, so we go. So I know some people are looking for the bursar's office or the bursar's office. We don't technically have one. We are student administrative services, and that's because we do more than just the tuition billing. So our office has a fancy title of student administrative services. So we're, essentially we're the billing and cashier. We did have a couple of people asking, what is the due dates already? You guys are jumping way ahead, way ahead. We got plenty of time for the fall bill due date, which is August 1st. Spring bills are due like the first week of January after we get back from Christmas break, and they always do that Friday to give us a couple of days to catch up on the mail and all that fun stuff. One of the other things that our office does besides tuition is the ID cards. So if anyone's student is coming to orientation tomorrow, they would have gotten an email today from sas@loyola.edu with a link to upload their picture for their ID card. There's time built into the orientations with their evergreens tomorrow where they can upload their pictures in, but we already had a couple people submit. So that's good. So they don't have to do it right now, but they do have to take an ID type photo, like for a passport looking like that. And then we upload it, or they upload it along with a picture of their driver's license, state ID, or passport. So we can just verify that that picture is that person. And then those cards will be printed out and given to them either during move-in for the residential students or during the fall welcome weekend for commuter students. So we're not going to give them to them, during the orientations, because they will just lose them before they get here in August. And then the replacement fee for an ID card is $15. So just be aware, if you see a lot of $15 charges popping up on the credit card bill, that's probably because they've lost their ID card numerous times. So just keep an eye on them for that. Our office also does parking registration. So if there's any first year commuter students, please visit our website, loyola.edu/SAS for student administrative services. There you'll see a link for the parking registration. You can just go online, register your vehicle. And then, there's a couple places that has all the details where the students can park and everything like that. We do also offer emergency loans. So we had a fund of money that was donated to the school years and years ago. I've been at Loyola almost 20 years, and it was here, when I started working here. It's called the McCroson loan. So heaven forbid a student lose their wallet over the weekend, we can loan them $100 interest-free for 30 days, as long as their bill is paid in full, their tuition bill is paid in full. Get it so they can have some money until their new credit cards and stuff come in the mail. And for that, they just need to stop by Student Administrative Services, and we can help them out with that. Since we're the money office, we also get asked a lot of questions about what ATMs are on campus. We have two. There's a PNC, which we have an exclusive student banking agreement with. So if you guys are looking for bank in a local area that the students are going to start, we recommend PNC. If you go to loyola.edu, just search for banking in the search bar, and it'll come up and it'll give you all the information on what the student account is. They have special deals for the students, things like that. And we also have a First Financial Federal Credit Union, which is the credit union that the university is associated with for students. So now the big question everyone is asking, now that we're here, how do we pay for this? So Tom and Mary Beth were nice enough to go over all their fun stuff, scholarships, grants. They talked about those evil loans and everything that, probably more than 90% of our students have. But after all that is taken in consideration, and if the loans and stuff aren't enough to cover everything, what are we going to do? How are we going to take care of that? But first, before we talk about that, we were talking about FERPA and PROXY access. So FERPA is the Family Education Rights and Privacy Act. So while all the first year students, we know they are your pride and joy and your little babies, they are technically now adults. And now that they're going to be matriculating at our university, they are officially grown-ups and their information is protected. So while you guys are nice enough to pay the bill, they have to give us permission to talk to you about financial aid and things like that. So in self-service, there is the ability for students to grant proxy access, and they can grant proxy access to literally anyone. So if you have a financial advisor that is taking care of all the stuff so you guys don't have to, that is awesome. The student can go in and enter their information into self-service, and that will generate a username for that person, and they can log into the account, see the student's bill and things like that, and then just make the payment. You guys are good to go. There's a couple different areas that students can grant the access to. They can grant it for universal access, which would show them their whole account, which includes student finance, which is where their bill is, financial aid, all the fun stuff that Tom and Mary Beth talked about, their grades. Tax information is the ability to view the 1098-T form. And then general is just notifications. If there's some sort of notification on their account, whether they're able to register or not, things like that, if they have a financial hold. All that is in the self-service and proxy access. So all the students have to do, if they haven't done it yet, just log into self-service, then they click on their username in the top right-hand corner, and then it drops down the menu. They have to hit view, add proxy access. And for most students, if we have the parent information, your name's already being there. All they do is click your name, click what access, boom, and then you guys get an email with your information and password and everything is good to go. If you ever get locked out of self-service because putting in the wrong password too many times, because their passwords are a little difficult, I think they're like 13 characters, letters, numbers, uppercase, lowercase, special characters, all that stuff. You can call the help desk, technology service help desk, and their number is 410-617-5555. And they'll be able to help you out, get your account unlocked so you can get back in and take care of the bill. Check it out. So how can you pay? We are old fashioned, so we will take cash and checks. If you guys want to mail us a personal check-in, we will totally take that. Just please make sure you note the student's ID number and name in the memo line so we can put it to the correct student's accounts. We do take debit and credit cards. They are online only. We can't take payments over the phone, unfortunately, but you can use those, but there is a 2.4% convenience fee online through self-service. We can also do e-checks online through self-service, and there's no fee for those. A lot of people have been utilizing 529s or like third-party payments. The 529 plans, every one of those varies greatly. It all depends what that plan's rules are. Sometimes they want a copy of the bill. Sometimes, all you have to do is say, hey, send this to Loyola University of Maryland. And they just cut a check and send it out. But so each semester, you're going to have to go into the 529 to request the funds to be distributed. Some of them will distribute the funds to you directly, but I don't recommend that. I always recommend just have them send the check directly to the university. That way, there's no tax implications. They can't say, oh, well, we send you a check for $5,000, but then you only paid Loyola $4,000, whereas that other $1,000 that's used for other stuff. So just have them, the 529 send us the funds, and the 529 will also ask for the student's ID number and things like that. So if you need that, you can find that in self-service. Under student finance, you can look at a copy of the statement, and their ID number is right on there. If you have funds in international accounts and you want to pay Loyola through that, we have partnered with Flywire, and Flywire can take currency from almost anywhere in the world, convert it to US dollars and send it to us. And that's a really simple process. You just go in there and tell them how much you want to pay in US dollars, link up your bank account. You can even pay with like international credit cards that way too. They have a bunch of different rates depending on which way you're going to do it, bank transfer. So yeah, you just literally go to flywire.com and click start the payment process, and then go from there. And then we also offer a monthly payment plan through Nelnet. That's really popular. Every year we have, between like 900 to 1,000 students utilizing the monthly payment plan. The payment plan is the first payment for the 5-month payment plan, which is the longest you can do in a semester, starts July 1. So we still have plenty of time if you guys, after this, if you want to go and check out your bill, just to make sure the tuition is on there, the room, the meal plan, if you're living on campus, dorm damage deposit, all that stuff's on there. Make sure the deposit you guys paid is on there. You can log into Nelnet directly through self-service by clicking on student finance and then payment plan information. That'll log you right into Nelnet. You have to answer security questions to like set your account up in there. The student has to do that first. Once a student does that, then you can go in as a proxy and then add your own account. So the student can see their stuff and you can see their stuff as well. So after this is over, make sure the students have granted you guys proxy access. That's super important, because if your name's not on the proxy access list, we can't talk to you about their account. And then you also can't really pay the bill. So you can just tell the student, well, if you don't give me proxy access, I'm not going to pay the bill, because that'll be on them, because it's technically their account. So again, you guys are just nice enough to pay that. But the access to Nelnet is only through self-service. So you do need to have logged into Loyola self-service to be able to get to Nelnet to set up the payment plan. The payment plan is $45 per semester. There's no monthly fee. They charge an enrollment fee of $45. And if you don't have it set up by the end of June for the July payment, the next one is a 4-month plan that starts in August. Then there's a 3-month plan that starts in September. All the plans end in November, and then December begins the spring payment plan. So if you sign up for one in the fall, Nelnet will send you a reminder email sometime in November saying, hey, do you want to set up for the spring? And it can go right back into Nelnet and set up your payment plan for the spring. So if you guys are looking for who to contact about your bill, we have dedicated account specialists run by our awesome LaTanya Butler-Clark, who couldn't be here this evening because today is her birthday. So I told her she didn't have to join in and help answer questions. But she is the Assistant Director of Student Administrative Services. So we have Deb Donatelli, does student last names A through F, and there's her phone number and email address. Elisa Allen does G through M, and Yvette McMillan does N through Z. So you guys will have this account specialist all 4 years. I think Deb is the newest person, and she's been here 5 years. Elisa and Yvette have been here both over 20 years, and LaTanya's been here 10 years. So there's a lot of experience. There's probably no situation they haven't heard before. So if you're having any issue with your bill, you know, give them a call, shoot them an email. You can even visit loyola.edu/SAS, stands for Student Administrative Services. And if you scroll down to the bottom, you can actually schedule a meeting, like a 15 or 30-minute meeting with your account specialist to go over. That way, guys aren't playing phone tag back and forth. Simple, it's a Microsoft Teams meeting. So the first time you do it, it might have you either download Teams or update all that fun stuff. But it's phenomenal because then you can look at the screen. So if you're having problems finding something in self-service, set up an appointment with your account specialist. You guys can then share screens, and they can show you exactly where to click and all that fun stuff, or you can show them where you're having an issue, and they can tell you exactly where to go. So they are extremely knowledgeable. You guys are in phenomenal hands with them. They're all excellent. They're all excellent. So now, something's wrong with my bill. So if there's something looks wonky with your bill, please reach out. If the housing doesn't look right, or the meal plan, you're not sure, you can always ask us questions about the meal plan, but we cannot change it. We can't change your housing either. All that lives with student life. So if you have a question or an issue with the housing and meal plans, give Student Life a call. Because all that is done, all the meal plan selection and housing selection is all done through their software, which is called RoomRes, and that's found on Inside Loyola. The students have access to that. If they're living on campus, they've already gone in and selected their meal plan and housing and things like that. If you're looking at your bill and there's no, grants or scholarships or loans that you're expecting, reach out to financial aid and see what's going on. I had somebody signed the student signed the master promissory note, but is not showing up in the system yet. A lot of that stuff, there is still a lot of manual behind the scenes stuff. So, if you've signed the master promissory note, it's not going to immediately show up on the book because the federal system has to link up with the Loyola system, and that can take a couple days to happen. Same thing with insurance waivers. We'll talk about this a little bit later, but there's some optional insurances that'll show up on the bill too, a health insurance and then a tuition refund plan. Those waivers we do manually. We try to do them every day, but we don't always get that information. So if you do make a change somewhere and then you check your bill already, it's probably it won't be reflected right away. So just, give it a couple of business days to appear. If it's more than a week, please reach out and let us know, because something could have been going on. The ERP we have been with for like 40 years. So it's a little old school. So it takes a little massaging, someone has to go in and kick the hamster wheel so it'll start running again. But yeah, please, if anything looks off, give us a call. It's always better to be proactive than just assume everything is right. Just reach out and we'll get you guys sorted out. So now, oh no, it's August 2nd. I haven't paid my bill. What's going to happen? So in the catalog, it's a 1.5% late fee for outstanding balances. We're allowed to charge that on a monthly basis. We don't do it. We do it like once a semester. For the fall, we do it in like October. In the spring, we do it in like February. But another bad thing that happens with a non-paid bill is a student gets puts on a financial hold. And what that financial hold does is that stops them from being able to add, drop, and change any of their classes. And it also block any future registrations they're trying to do. So if the bill's not paid, in addition to the late fee, they're also not going to be able to register for future semesters and things, and they're gonna, the first add drop is only the first week of classes. So if their bill is not paid and they're trying to change classes, you got to get that done before the end of that first week of classes, because then they're not going to be able to, they'll be stuck in, they'll be stuck in Spanish 101 if they don't want to be in there. Another thing is, once they're seniors, if the bill's not paid, they can't receive their diploma. So that piece of paper is really important to them and to you. It's nice to hang on the wall, but they also couldn't participate in graduation, so they're not going to be able to walk across the stage if the bill is not satisfied before then. So just want to let you guys know that there are consequences without paying the bill. So please, and if you're having issues, please reach out. Like I said, there's nothing we haven't heard before. So feel free, reach out. It's always better to be proactive. So I mentioned health insurance. So all students, all full-time undergrad students are required to be covered by health insurance. If you don't have health insurance, we do offer a plan through United Healthcare. We don't have the cost of that yet because it hasn't been approved by the Maryland State Health Insurance Institute, something like that. They've had it for like 4 months and it's still not approved, but it's going to be somewhere. Last year was $3,600. So I assume it's going to go up a little bit from there. So you can take our plan if you want to. You're not required to. If you do want to, you can go in and waive in. If you visit loyola.edu/SAS, the links are on there to either waive out of the health insurance, and to waive out, you have to provide proof of your insurance. So when you go in there, you will put your insurance information in there. It'll be verified to make sure, that the plan's good enough. Make sure that plan will cover Maryland. A lot of plans from out of state don't necessarily cover in Maryland. But you don't need to have our plan. If you get a plan, if you have a plan at work, great. If there's not one, if your work plan doesn't cover in Maryland, you can try the open market and see if you can find something to cover down here. And if you have any questions about that, feel free to reach out to our insurance provider is on the website as well. So you can reach out to her, and her name is Paige Fritz, and she'll be at the orientations as well, at the orientation fair from 3:30 to 5 at the end of each orientation. So if you have any questions about your insurance stuff, then reach out to her. She has her computer right there. She can check it real quick. She's excellent. She's been our insurance broker for years and years and years. So she's excellent, very easy to work with. There's a tuition refund plan by the company Duar. They've been doing tuition refund plans for a long, long time. And it's essentially like term life insurance for the tuition, housing, and meal plan that we charge. So if a student has to withdraw because of an accident, illness, mental health issue, they'll refund up to 80% of the tuition, housing, and fees that we've built, minus any financial aid. So, if the student has remission, grants, and scholarships and stuff, that's money that's not coming out of your pocket. They deduct that first, but then you get essentially 80% of the funds you had to pay out of pocket back. But it must be a medical withdrawal. There is paperwork that the attending physician has to fill out. It's relatively easy, but it's always hard to get the doctors to fill out another form. But Duar is also excellent to work with. Like I said, they've been doing this for years, and that plan it's $99 per semester. So, but if you do want to waive out of it, you can just visit loyola.edu/SAS. The links are on there. You can go in and waive it out. You just need the student's name and ID number to waive out of the Duar thing. And once you waive out in the fall, you're automatically waived out for the spring. If you waive out and then decide later that you do want it, give us a call. We can go in, we can undo that waiver and get you guys back in the plan. It's one of those things that you hate to use, but we've seen more and more people using it. So I always recommend people keep it at least for the first year. And then if the students go abroad, definitely have it for that semester. If you waive out in the fall and then you decide, no, I do want it for the spring, just email us or reach out to your specialist so we can get that back on for the spring semester. And we were talking about ID cards before. So the students are going to upload their pictures, and our ID card is called the Evergreen card. So this is going to be their access to get anywhere they need to go on campus and spend all the money and the meal points and stuff that you guys will load on the card. They'll also use it in the library. We share a library with Notre Dame right next door. So there's a barcode on there where they can like scan their ID card and take out books, or I don't even know if you take out books from the library anymore. I haven't been there in a while, but the library was recently redone, and they got rid of all the 70s like orange and green carpet. So it's pretty nice in there now. Their card is also going to be like security and gate access to. So to get into dorms, they're going to have to tap their ID card and their chip will work and open up the door if they're supposed to be in there. Printing and copying, they'll do, every student gets $15, I think $15 per semester for printing and copying things. So that's all tracked on the ID card. This is what they'll use for their meal swipes and their meal points on their meal plan if they're living on campus and have one. All residential students are required to have a meal plan. Commuter students can if they want to. They can just reach out to us to see what their process is to add that. And then another thing on the Evergreen card is called the Evergreen account, which is like a pre-funded on-campus debit spending account. So you can put money on there for the students to use in the bookstore. If they do, heaven forbid, lose their credit card or debit card, you can always put money on the Evergreen account so that it can get stuff around campus, so they don't feel totally stranded. The meal points and the meal swipes go away either at the end of the semester or the end of the swipes go away either at the end of the week or the end of the semester, and the points go away at the end of the academic year. So make sure they use all their meal points first. The Evergreen account, that money stays on there until they graduate, and then anything over $2 we refund back to you guys. So that's a nice little graduation present for you all. But the Evergreen account can be used in the bookstore, vending machines, post office, student trips, activities. There's always like some fundraiser t-shirt sales outside of Boulder, the one dining hall on campus. The health center takes it, like if they do need to go to the health center to get something, if they're getting medicine from there, they can use their Evergreen dollars for that. You can also use it in the dining facilities, but it is Maryland state tax will be added to that. So it's 6% for that. So if your student does run out of meal points, you can add meal points on there or put some money on the Evergreen account at loyola.edu/evergreen deposit. And with that, you can either log in as the student or you can do a guest deposit where you just put the student's last name and ID number, and it'll just put automatically put the money on their student account, and it'll be ready to go right for them. It's like real time. So that is the end of my show here. Let me stop sharing my screen. And we can look at the chat and see what we got. But yeah, like we were saying, if we can't get to your questions tonight, please reach out to us when you come on campus or schedule a meeting with us. Yeah, we're here to help. We've all been here a long time, so we can see what you can. We've had lots of experiences. It's all fun.
Yeah, this all can be very overwhelming. We know. This is usually when I tell families just relax. You'll get through this. It seems overwhelming now. I've been through this twice with my daughters. Mary Beth's about ready to go through it with hers. Dave, you're a few years away, but it will come together. We are all here to help. In even the simplest, stupidest questions, not simple or stupid. So feel free to ask away. Our website again has a ton of information. You can email, or if you're like me, old school, I need to talk to somebody. I just pick up the phone or just walk into an office if you're local. So we're always available. And if we don't get back to you, that day, we certainly will. And don't feel bad if you got to, shoot another email to remind us, because things are for a lot of places on campus, it's kind of a break. But for our two offices, it's the busiest time of the year, really, getting everyone ready to come into the fall. So that's enough from me.
Yeah. So we got there's a couple of questions in the Q&A. That's all. Looks like Mary Beth was hitting up the chat pretty good. But Tom, let me just shoot this one out to you. Can we expect the same aid money next year as long as our financial situation stays relatively the same?
Yeah, so scholarships, yes. Scholarships are merit-based. There's usually two kinds of aid if you break it down, merit-based and need-based. So need-based is going to be based on the information that you're providing on the FAFSA each year. And we generally tell families if that information's the same, you're going to get a very, if not the exact same, a very similar aid package from year to year. The things that can throw need-based aid off are income increases, and significant, not just a couple thousand, but if there's a significant difference in income, either higher or lower, major asset changes, number of children in college, um, on campus versus off campus. Those things could potentially affect things like the Loyola grant. So if your income goes up, your grant could go down. If you unfortunately suffer a loss of income, then it's possible the grant goes up. So it's basically going to be an annual review of the FAFSA for that particular year.
And just to piggyback on what Tom said, sometimes families are like, I'm filling out the FAFSA and it's asking for 2021 data. I'm in 2022 and I lost, my job or whatever. You still have to fill out the FAFSA. Everybody has to fill out the FAFSA with the year that they're asking for. And then if your situation had changed, then we'll tackle that after the FAFSA's process through an appeal, document.
Awesome. And then is there a deadline to apply for Parent Plus loans for 23-24?
Well, I mean, if you plan on paying the bill with it, August 1st, you'd want to have that done.
Thank you. Thank
you. Sure, Dave, no problem. If you happen to miss that deadline, you can certainly apply anytime during the fall semester and spring semester. Any loan, federal or private, student or parent, May of next year is really the drop dead cutoff date. So if you paid out of pocket for something and then decided, no, I want to take a loan late in the year, you can do so, but it's going to be May is when we cut that off. So normally that's rare for folks to apply for a loan that late, but we have folks applying all summer into the fall semester.
And then wondering if the changes to FAFSA for next year will affect the aid we received this year. So is there changes to FAFSA next year?
That's a great question.
That's a great question.
The short answer is, if, as Tom said, if nothing changes in your financial or household situation, it should be relatively the same. We're just learning a lot of the stuff that's gonna happen next year. So you're getting the same information we are at this point. We have conferences that we attend twice a week trying to get a handle on all the changes that are taking place. But, if nothing, everything remains relatively the same, expect a similar package.
And for those who aren't aware, the Department of Ed is completely revamping the FAFSA next year. So it's going to look completely different. We haven't actually seen the finished product, but we've heard about it, obviously. And so it's a big worry with every college and every parent that's going to be filling out the FAFSA next year. So we're all going to be learning at the same time, but generally our thinking, and I think most colleges are, especially for currently enrolled students, which your students will be, or if next year, we don't want to radically change. Our intent is not to do that, change any kind of an aid package. Like Mary Beth said, if the information you're providing is the same.
Awesome. All right, let me see what else we got in here. Apologies for being late. I noticed the above outside. Okay, so yeah, so I gave out 2 different contacts for scholarships. So those 2 different contacts I gave out were the last name for the student. So if you have an outside scholarship, please reach out to your dedicated account specialist. That's divided up by the student's last name. That way they'll be able to tell you exactly what to do with that information. So what we do with scholarships is like private outside scholarships, we will get that loaded on your bill. So all you have to do is send us a copy of the award letter, and then our office works with financial aid to get that incorporated into their financial aid package. One of the downsides of private outside scholarships is they may affect your institutional aid, right? I'm correct, Tom? So if you have an outside scholarship for like $13,000, that may affect if you've gotten a Loyola scholarship or Loyola grant, something like that. Do you want to talk about that real quick?
Yeah, real quick. I'd say for the most part, most private scholarships that we receive are, a couple hundred, maybe a couple $1,000s. They're from the local Knights of Columbus or summer job or the high school award kind of a thing. Generally, they do not affect an award. We add them on top. Generally, I mean, every situation could be different depending on what aid has been applied. But once you get into some larger scholarships, you know, $5,000-$10,000, say, it could affect need-based aid. So we will certainly, as you usually those scholarships are being presented this time of year. So as you find out about them, if you forward them to us, then we'll incorporate them into the aid package. And if they do result in a revision, we'll let you know right away.
Yeah. Another big one of those is remission benefits. So if your work, I know we every year we always have a couple students whose parents work at Johns Hopkins, and Johns Hopkins will pay half charges no matter where your student goes. So, you know, if that's the case and you were awarded another like institutional aid and the Hopkins half, then, you know, that can always throw it off. So like work remission always seems to be like the biggest one that affects it. But, you know, the Rotary Club $500 doesn't usually mess it up too much. We got another person here. Is a student portal updated with what aid my daughter has and what she owes? Yeah, so as soon as financial aid approves the aid, whether it's a grant, scholarship, whatever, in the system, it should show up immediately in self-service. And then on the self-service financial aid portion, when you go over to student finance, it should automatically come off of the bill. If it's not, sometimes the system can be wonky. Sometimes financial aid hasn't marked it from like pending to accepted yet. So, you know, if something hasn't been appeared in a couple days, reach out. You know, we're always here to help. It can be tough to get us on the phone sometimes. That's why it's always best to schedule a meeting with your account specialist, because you could say, hey, we haven't seen this scholarship come on, you know, schedule. Then we can reach out to financial aid and work closely with our partners over there and get you guys all sorted out. And then the last one I see in the question and answer is the meal plan included in the room and board charge on the financial aid package? I think financial aid, I think you guys use the 14 meals a week as the default meal plan for all students. So that's what's included in like the cost of attendance. But check your bill to make sure that the room charge is on there. All first year students pay the same amount for on-campus housing. The meal plan, the minimum plan for incoming students is 14 meals a week.
Ready?
Oh.
The dough is ready? The dough is ready.
Oh, I think that's somebody else.
no.
Yeah,
I wait a few.
The dough is ready.
But yeah, so, you know,
Yeah,
again,
Mama.
if the meal plan's not on there, check with your student to make sure they
Come
select
sit, honey.
one. If you think it's the wrong meal plan, check the
Wait,
student.
I'm done with that.
They might have changed something and not told you that they're increasing their meal plan. Let me see. So yeah, just check your bill to make sure all that stuff is on there. We got two more. How is legacy credit validated? That one I think is for financial aid. And then any way to request the Jack and Jill room as a freshman, reach out to Student Life for that one. Student Life handles all of the housing. So unfortunately that's not us, but they will work with you and try to get you, you know, whatever kind of room you guys would like. So legacy credit, is that for like a Loyola scholarship maybe? Or a Loyola legacy grant?
It sounds like a legacy grant, and we would automatically populate that if we were aware of the legacy information from the admissions app. If you think you may qualify and we missed you, you can certainly email your financial aid counselor and we could, you know, take a look at that.
Yeah, and that puts us right at 6:31, which is, I think, an hour after we started. So we do appreciate all of your questions. I'm sure sleeping tonight, you're going to wake up in the middle of the night and think of 10 more. Write them down and stop by during the fairs at the orientation, 3:30 to 5. Right at the end of orientation, stop by and ask us. If you're not coming, you can try to give the student those questions, but you know it's going to be like a game of telephone trying to get them to ask the right question that you want to know, and for them then to tell you what we said. It can be difficult. So, you know, please reach out to your account specialist and set up an appointment, and we will get you guys all squared away. You know, we're with you for the next 4 years. So we hope it'll be a fruitful relationship. And then yeah, we want to make this as painless as possible, but yeah, please reach out. This recording will be saved on our webpage in the next couple days, and Tom and Mary Beth, if you want to send me your slides, I'll put them up on the SAS website as well. All right,
Awesome.
everybody, thank you so much. Have a lovely evening. We'll see you at orientation.